I might get a booster vax, but I don't need one. But I just want to get one to like encourage other people to do it.
You're a good man.
I'm so healthy that it's probably just going to make me feel better. It'll have the opposite effect.
Right. Are you worried that it's going to make you feel normal human healthy and that'll bring you down a little bit?
Yeah, that is what I'm worried about. Regular, like Olympian level healthy is a step down for me.
Right.
So, I mean, and you know, a lot of it's physical, but it's also mental. You like using the alpha brain monkey mindset. I definitely have, it's kind of trickled down to an alpha body monkey mindset.
Oh. Wow. Well, they say that a chimpanzee can rip the tire off of a pickup truck.
Yeah, I could rip a tire off. I could take a woman's face off.
I know you go for faces and genitals. That's your thing.
Yeah, well, I go for a guy's genitals. I wouldn't go for a woman's genitals because I'm a gentleman. But
true gentleman.
You just go for her face.
Well, I mean, you know, just I don't want to be a creep or nothing, you know. But a guy, yeah, for sure. Genitals. I will bite off his thumbs so he cannot attack me, and I will break his jaw so he cannot bite me, and then I will shout into his ear, "Who's your daddy?" In my best Brian Cox impression. Fuck you.
The guy from Hardcastle McCormick?
No.
Yeah.
But that guy kind of looks like Brian Cox. You're not?
No, Brian Cox is the judge on Hardcastle McCormick. Judge Hardcastle.
Hardcastle and McCormick. No, Brian Cox is a Scottish actor.
He's an American judge. That's the joke.
That was Brian Keith.
No, that you're thinking of McCormick with the Roadrunner.
No, that's
the car.
David Keith. David Keith is he's a dad in Firestarter. I know it's funny because there's David Keith, who's the guy in Firestarter.
Oh yeah.
Directed by
Brian Cox.
John Carpenter.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's correct.
Also Keith David, completely different guy in the movie They Live, directed by John Carpenter.
He's also in The Thing.
And Carpenter was the profession of Jesus of Nazareth. And Nazareth was a band and they had a record called Black Dog, or a song called Black Dog. And I have a dog that's black.
Oh.
She's got a sugar face now because there's all white.
She's old?
Yeah, she's very old. She's 17.
Does she got the sugars? Can dogs get diabetes?
I would think so.
Yeah, right? They got pancreases.
Let's get a puppy and find out.
Just feed him nothing but Lucky Charms and just the marshmallows.
Yeah.
I don't much like cereal. I never liked cold cereal. The last cold cereal I remember eating is Golden Grams.
Are you cereal?
Yeah, I'm completely serious right now.
Hey, can I tell y'all, can I make a segue and tell you about my crazy weekend?
Hear it.
So I'm sitting around the house on a Saturday night, and I'm noodling around on the guitar thinking, what a lackluster night for me. There's nothing going on. And somebody's like, yeah, you could come to the bar. I'm like, yeah, I could do that. And then I think to myself, like, man, I sure wish I would have bought tickets to the Rolling Stones concert, right? And but I was like, they're really expensive. And I was like, what time do they start? I checked, and I was like, they started at 9. It's almost 10. I think, well, I've never seen the Rolling Stones, and they're really old. And I bet maybe I could get a $50 ticket and just sit on the lawn. But the lawn sucks. But you know what? Maybe I'll even just go down there and just see what's up. So I drive down to the Circuit of the Americas. It's like a big race car track. And I drive down there, and I'm like, well, and so I just start walking towards the music. But I walked in the complete wrong. I mean, I made it. I got into the direction of the music, but I went to the wrong place because the entrance is like literally like a mile and a half in an opposite direction. And so I'm like behind the stage, and I can, from a certain angle, I can kind of see the side of like a video wall, just barely the edge, and like so it's just like the projected video. But I can hear it. They're playing Midnight Rambler. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I go around. I see like this one area of the stage, and there was a flap open, like a fence was open. I was like, oh, maybe I could get back in there. That's right behind the stage. And there's a bunch of security guards creeping around. I'm like, so I paced back a couple times. I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I'd have to get real lucky. And then there's this VIP area though, right? Where it's a little single file thing. You'll let people in, and there's tons of security there, right? And so then I walk around that and I watch the end of Midnight Rambler, and I'm looking at this, I'm on this far side of this tent, and I see just this little sliver of light on the side of this tent. And I walk over there, and the tent is kind of like tied down with rope at the bottom. And I peek through there, and I see that it's this really nice bar where it's like some super VIP pop-up bar. Well, they brought in like crazy nice furniture. Like I've seen little pop-up bars at festivals. This was like nuts. Like they brought in like flooring but I untie the thing, and I slip in the bar, and I make a zig and a zag. I pop out, walk down a hallway like I own the place, and I am front row at the Rolling Stones concert. Around people I checked, people paid up to like $3,500.
Those idiots.
Tickets for the areas where I am, and I'm up front. And I could literally at one point I could literally, if I, not that I would throw anything at him, but like just to demonstrate, it would be something very light. I could have hit him. I could have hit Mick Jagger with a wadded up piece of paper. And it was, I was like, man, I'm never going to get to see the Rolling Stones. This is probably the last time. I'm not going to do that. I wish I would have remembered. I wish I would have thought about that. And just like on a complete whim from that to being front row at a Rolling Stones concert. And the other thing too is like I was working on, so Gamblers are playing this show where we were just doing 3 Rolling Stones songs like in 2 weeks. And so I was literally like working on those songs, like trying to figure them out and stuff. And I was playing Paint It Black. And that was right, Midnight Rambler ended, and they were talking for a little bit. And I saw the light, and I peeked in there. And I was like, this is going to be weird if I get caught. And then they started into Paint It Black, and I was like, it is a sign. And I just snuck back there. And it was like the most exciting thing I've ever had happen. It was fucking great. And I run out at the end, like they ended with Satisfaction. And I was like, part of me occurred to me like, oh, this is like the worst parking in the history, everybody says. And you could tell, like, I saw just how many insane people there. So right as they're playing Satisfaction, I'm like, I bet this is their last song. I just hard getting back through the crowd, and I'm walking out, and I go right past the stage. Like there was an area where I could have hit the stage, but I figure like Mick probably has like 11 bodyguards that would murder me. But I walk past, and I'm walking back, and all these fireworks go off, and it was the most loud. I've never been directly under like July 4th fireworks, and I took a little video of me walking under that, and it was. But now, like I've got, it's like when Chuck Berry was so successful that he fucked so many women, like he was just like this guy, and then it got to where he had to like have like 2 women, and then he had to have them doing weird stuff, all the way to where like now he has to get like lie under a glass table and get shit on the glass table. Like my going to shows kink is it's far gone now. Like now, like the only way I'm going to enjoy going to show is if I go into like another band's show is if I steal their tour bus or something like that.
Well, whatever it takes, Mike.
Yeah, just keep up in that ante.
I mean, whatever, and they find me, like rolling around trying to put on Iggy Pop's pants or something like that. I'll just have to say, hey, that's my kink. Don't kink shame. Kink shaming's wrong. I will remind them that kink shaming is wrong.
And they'll have to let it go. What you call them?
Yeah, they have to.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Could you see their pacemaker scars when they were playing?
Man, Mick Jagger has a better physique than anyone that I know. Like it was fucking crazy.
I don't believe it.
It was crazy. Keith, on the other hand, Keith Richards is not so good. And there's one of those things too, where like he's got like he's like this great master blues guitar player. Like, man, he fucked up a lot. He fucked up a lot, and then just would kind of make faces like, who cares? Which was even better somehow. Like it was very, very enjoyable.
To call back to a previous episode, did you notice that Keith Richards looked like JFK?
He did not look like JFK.
And then you got to imagine JFK being older and also after years of heroin abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, possibly after after strong battles with heroin and I don't think JFK had such meaty fingers.
Does Keith Richards have like meaty? Is this like,
Man, they got meat. He's got meat palms,
like big hands, like
sausages,
like Vienna sausages, or like bratwurst sausages.
Brats.
Like a couple, like 4 brats and the brat thumb on each.
4
hand.
brats and 2 tots.
That is a great way to describe a large hand.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking at their hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like Ronnie Wood had something on his head. I think it was a wig, but it might have been a piece of carpet. But Mick Jagger's like legitimately, because again, I was right next to Mick Jagger. I could have French kissed him. I was so close.
I'm surprised you didn't.
I thought about it, but man, it's like I was like, yeah, that was like real fucking hair. Like he definitely, but he has to dye it because it was like grayish brown. Ronnie Wood's hair, and Ronnie Wood looks like a literal skeleton, and he has this jet black hair. But you know, it's crazy. I was running out, like I said, I went right by the stage, and then holy shit, I was like, oh my god. That's fucking Keith Richards. And I walked over to go say hi to him, but it turned out it was just a moldy onion sitting on a pile of scarves. That's not Keith Richards. God bless him, though. It was great.
Did you swipe a drink on your way out? Did you leave the way you came in? Did you
No,
just
I
very
went out.
showy, like, I'm going to exit out through the tent again. What are you going to do? Kick me out? Like,
yeah, I just went through the exit the VIP entrance that I didn't go in originally.
Okay. Did anybody give you the stink eye? Did you get like side eye from people who spent $3,500?
No, but to go out that exit, I had to go by a security guard, a different security guard, and she was explaining to a woman why she couldn't go through that exit, and I think a lot of sneaking into stuff is looking like you're busy. Yep. Like you're busy and you just can't be bought. Like I got, and just it's getting in with purpose.
Right. I'm supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. I would have assumed that had you had that experience, it would have been on the back of somebody you knew, because it's here locally, right? Like a friend of yours worked somewhere, so you were able to get in. I like that is a complete encapsulated Mike Wiebe experience, that from the moment of leaving your home to getting to the front row of the Stones is just you finding opportunity and exploiting that opportunity.
Yeah.
And at any point, if any of those people had been competent in their work and said, sir, you don't belong here, you'll have to go, you would have left, I'm sure, happily.
Or I would have figured out a way to wriggle out of that situation.
Wriggle?
See, I like to think I would have. I like to think had I been called on it, I would be like,
talk him out of it?
Well, I think I would be like, you're not supposed to be here. I'm like, hold on. Who are you? Who are you?
Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Welcome to the International News Service. I'm Kevin. Wait, God damn it. Welcome to the International
Hold on. What? No. Did you just mess up your name?
I messed up where my name went in the order of things.
That's what. How does that happen?
Hold on, Kevin. I'm International Harrison Service News.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I'm Camp Brian.
Wiebe Michael MR for Jungle Audio. Ones, threes makes production happen. Ryan Mark.
I am Tony.
Tony's back.
Hey, it's Tony again. So our first story comes to us from The Mirror.
The Mirror.
Ooh, is that the same publication that used to talk to the Wicked Witch and tell her to kill Snow White.
I think it might actually be worse than that. We'll get into that at the end of the story.
Is it an obsidian mirror that allows us to speak to spirits?
Maybe. Again, we'll get into that at the very end of the story.
Does the witch come from the sea?
No, the witch from
they don't know about that. We don't. Our listeners don't want to know about that.
That's very inside, listener. And we'll just leave it at that.
I spoke to some spirits last night. A little rum and coke.
So, as we have covered on the show, Bigfoot is a phenomenon largely associated with North America, as well as in Central Asia, where Bigfoot is called the Yeti. However, a man now says that after a decade of searching, he's found evidence of Bigfoot in the UK.
Are we sure that Yetis and Bigfoot are the same thing?
Yeah.
Science is still out there.
I think that might be a leap that we're making.
Okay.
Big feet and Yetis.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some, like the difference between like a type of deer that you find in Asia and an American white-tailed deer. There's got to be some species, you can only involve
like a common ancestor.
Yeah, there's they're related, but they probably, they came over on, one set of Sasquatch came over on a land bridge.
Okay.
Maybe.
Very scientific.
Well, do you think that Noah had a stall for Big Feet and for Yeti?
Oh boy, I bet that stall got stunk up by the Bigfoot.
Yeah, so.
So this man claims he was contacted about a sighting by a man flying a drone, and when he went to the area, he found a Bigfoot track measuring 41 centimeters, or a little over 16 inches.
Well, that's just the size of Shaq.
Right. Not that big of a foot.
I wrote a song a long time ago, and the lyrics were about the video game Shaq Fu. And one of the lines in that lyric was, Shaq Fu, what you gonna do? Shaq Fu, gonna kick you with the size 22. He actually wore size 23 shoes, but it simply doesn't rhyme.
Right.
What was the name of that band?
Skeleton Kids.
Nice.
Look for our stuff on cassette tapes from 1994.
I think I have one.
It's worth a lot of nothing.
I'm gonna hang on, let my investment grow.
Yeah, it's like Bee Babies.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, UK Bigfoot sightings are rare, but they go back to the 1800s. And this man claims he's heard of 12 tracks found in the UK in just the last 2 years. The man told reporters, quote, "I've never seen a footprint that large in my life, and it was clearly not made using a mold or cast."
It was Shaq. It was just Shaq was in the UK probably promoting, they're probably doing another All Sport, the energy drink that has carbs in it. They're probably doing another All Sport because, they usually, like music, you try to break it in the UK first. I'm sure it was Shaq, and I'm sure he went camping and he just took off his shoes and, probably going to go punt a badger in the face.
Well, I don't think they've made All Sports since 1998.
Well, they're coming back. Everything, it's a retro world, They got a new Ghostbusters coming out. You know how old that movie is?
Hey, it's already been out by the time this
out right now.
Well, it doesn't matter. Now that new Ghostbusters is old news.
So, while researching for a book on Bigfoot, the man claims he even saw a Bigfoot, adding, quote, "I tried to run after it, but it was too quick and disappeared into a dense section of trees."
This is somebody who needs to hear Mike's cautionary tale about running after Bigfoot. I feel like he doesn't quite understand the consequences of chasing a Bigfoot, finding a Bigfoot, and what might happen to you and your fragile male psyche should you actually capture or come into contact with that Bigfoot.
I have questions.
Yes.
What? Why did this open up with some drone stuff?
Well, because somebody with a drone said he saw a Bigfoot, and he told this guy, "Hey, I saw a Bigfoot," and that's when the guy ran into the area and made the Bigfoot casting.
But did the drone capture the Bigfoot?
No.
Or what do they even call it? Because it's Bigfoot over here, but in the UK, wouldn't it be like big kilometer?
No, they use feet in the UK.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, other than I've only been there a couple of times. It's not that funny that I didn't know that.
So the man
Not that
added,
funny that I know a lot of stuff. I just didn't. The shack kept saying kilometers.
The man added that, like Mike, he knows people will think he's mad, but he hopes to prove them wrong. Meanwhile, when I was reading this article, the website recommended another article in the right-hand column titled, quote, I saw dead people aged 10, and I met the black-eyed child and creepy man monkey. And this article just happened to be written by the man in this Bigfoot story and published 8 hours after this story dropped.
Okay, big meter. It would just be big meter. Kilometers, obviously too far.
Yeah, that's
Too big. But big kilometer, that might be like a giant, troll. They got the giant trolls over in Norway, and they use this stupid, I don't know, what is it called? The meter system?
Yeah, the meter system.
Metric. But yeah, that's...
Well, trolls
Sure.
do have, meter-long feet.
Sure. Big kilometer.
Yeah, are there Japanese Yetis? Or
Probably there's some kind of like wild man of...
They got those macaws. They kind of look like Yetis.
those are little, though.
No, I think they're pretty big. I mean, they're smaller than a human.
Which is smaller than a Bigfoot.
Well, I don't know if that's true.
There needs to be a name for all of these hominids.
Primates?
They're not primates.
Are they
They're
not?
transdimensional beings capable of love.
Is this INS canon that you don't believe big feet are or have an Earth origin?
Well, at some point, I think it's clear that the delight that they take in ripping the clothes off people and getting, just laughing at genitals, that is, I mean, that's not the behavior. That comes from a higher source. There's no animal that has like a decadent pleasure in profound in committing humiliation on another creature,
For the listener, I just want to point out this is a callback from, I think, episode 2.
Oh, it's been referenced a few times. This is not the first time that the erotic adventures of Mike and the Bigfoot have been discussed.
It's not erotic if I didn't want it to happen. If I get my clothes ripped off, it's not out of choice. If I go find a Bigfoot lady and she just rips off all my clothes and just points and just laughs, she just thinks it's so funny. And then she gets all the other woodland creatures to go around and laugh at me naked. Because, yes, I'm going to look small compared to a Bigfoot man. Obviously. They're like fucking 3 feet taller than me. Of course. So, and she just wants to laugh. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, there's nothing I can do about it.
Right. You just have to take it, right?
There's nothing I can do about it.
So when she's laughing, and the animals around her are laughing, right?
Yeah, they're laughing too. She gets him to join in. So that's another thing. Animals don't normally laugh. They're not like that kind of creatures. But all of a sudden, you got rabbits, you got owls, you got bears, you got squirrels. Oh, badgers. I mean, can you imagine that?
How many badgers?
Stacks of them. You're buck naked, and she's holding you up. By both, just one hand holding you up, just pointing at your genitals while your naked legs, twitch and fly about while you're trying to get out. And there's just stacks of badgers all around you, and the badgers are pointing and laughing too. Mm-hmm. That's the work of a transdimensional creature.
Yeah. Well,
I think we can agree on that.
I think
that is not an
convinced.
Earth-based. That is not a strictly this dimension-based creature.
Right.
That is
not an earthican. Is that the term, earthican?
Earthling, maybe. I don't know.
Earthling's probably better.
I don't know. I'm not saying that they're not from Earth. I'm just saying they're not from this dimension.
So a different Earth. Earth
2, maybe, if you will.
Oh, Earth 2. So a very close Earth to our Earth.
I can't say that. I haven't been. That I've my only interaction. I would love to ask them about that. My only interaction has been they just rip off my clothes and they just hold me up, and it's nothing. They don't touch me. It's not a thing. They just point and they laugh. They think it's so funny, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Your hairless pink human body flailing, being held up in midair. Mm.
And they think it's funny because all those animals are covered in hair, and we're not.
Right.
And with the Sasquatch, I guess there's a size thing, but I mean, yeah, of course. I'm not saying, look, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine for a human. I think, I've been told that it's just fine before.
Mm-hmm. That's high praise. Just fine.
So they say, what do you think? And they're like, oh, that's just fine.
Yeah, that which means great. I mean, that's better. That sounds better than average. And
I like the implication that there's some kind of penis lineup happening, but
well, I just, the fucking Sasquatch. It's like whatever. Go stand next to an elephant. Obviously, yeah. Anybody, it doesn't matter who. They're gonna, John Holmes compared to an elephant. It's like, well, there's no question. Or just an average horse. I mean, Bigfoot's as big as a fucking horse.
Well, I mean, no.
Yes.
No, horses are big. I don't think Bigfoot's
obviously you've never been held up by a Bigfoot.
That's true.
You've never had your clothes ripped off and been held by a Bigfoot.
Why don't we get back to the news here, guys?
How is this not news?
I think this is news.
It's newsworthy.
It's
true. I mean, this guy's in the news because he just saw a Bigfoot. Mike
went chasing a drone.
By a Bigfoot. Well, the drones are loud. Don't you think that would scare off a Bigfoot? Or a meter foot? Or a big meter?
Big meter, yeah.
Big meter.
So our next story comes to us from NPR.
And what does that stand for?
Nothing presented is real. Recently, rain, dust storms, and snow in the southern Egyptian city of Aswan drove thousands of scorpions out of their burrows and into the city.
Well, Kevin, I'm just going to let you know right now that at some point we need to talk about vinegaroons. But go ahead.
At the end of this article, I have in brackets, bring up vinegaroons.
Good.
As a result, at least 3 people are dead from scorpion stings, and another 450 were injured. Residents have been instructed to stay inside, and the area had to call in doctors who were on vacation just to treat the massive number of patients.
Oh, no. Doctors had to cut their vacation short?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. This sounds awful. Well, it's like a real catastrophe.
Oh, I show up with some aloe vera cream.
What? Is that something doctors have done to you before?
I assume that's all they did. I'm sure they just squirted out a couple aloe veras and put it on the wound.
The Egyptian fat-tailed scorpion, which is found throughout northern Africa, has been described as one of the most deadly scorpions in the world.
Well, 3 out of 400, it's not that deadly. Maybe they had scorpion allergies.
3 out of 450, but 450 people were still stung by scorpions.
Do you think, you said of the most deadliest scorpions in the world, do you think one of the most deadliest scorpions is the band Scorpions? I followed Demasqua down to Gorky Park, searching for the winds of change.
You need to keep going. I really want to.
I don't know the rest of it, but I do know this about scorpions. There's a funny video where they were just like, there was some like paparazzi, just not paparazzi, but kind of a TMZ situation, and like some of the members of Scorpions were leaving someone, and it wasn't even like a paparazzi kind of thing, but they just like, maybe it was a film crew, and that they were leaving, and he was like, what's the craziest rock and roll thing that's ever happened to you? He's like, oh, the real craziest? And they're like, yeah. He's like, man, I went, they flew us to some party in Germany, and they were watching snuff films in there, and they were real snuff films, and they were talking about having an orgy, and we just got out of there. We were kind of freaked out, and it was just, he says it real seriously, and everybody's kind of like, what? Some Squid Games type stuff, it sounds like.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, you know what other kind of scorpions they have in Egypt, Brian?
What?
Vinegaroons.
Do they have them in Egypt?
Yeah, I checked before.
They're deadlier than scorpions, I bet.
Oh, sure. They can spit their venom in your eye.
Yeah.
It's just vinegar.
Vinegaroon can blind you.
Yeah. A scorpion has to crawl on you.
Right.
A vinegaroon can hit you from, I don't know, 60 feet away.
There's at least 1,000, if not more, blindings in Texas every year just from vinegaroons.
They roll around and they see you and they squirt you from over a meter away.
No, nobody's ever been blinded or
Here. So from the toe to the heel,
on from a meter.
they're gonna get their venom on you.
I meant a kilometer.
Oh well,
that's why they actually named it kilometers, because that is the distance that a vinegaroon can kill you from.
All measurements are based on the lethality of a vinegaroon. I like that. That's probably true.
Can I add another metric thing?
There we go.
I don't like that. Apparently that's the usage that the Bigfoot uses. They use, and at some point they'll say that look, he's got a millimeter Peter.
I don't know. That was poorly formed. I think.
I'm glad we had to pause for that.
Well,
I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of these big feats and what they do to you.
So wait, the Bigfoot uses the metric system, even though they're the Bigfoot.
Listen, I don't run the show. I mean, if I ran the show, I wouldn't be getting constantly abducted and humiliated and mocked. I don't want that. Who wants that? Not me. Over and over again.
Right.
In the same area.
And when you say the same area,
the woods by my house.
Yeah. You mean like the swimsuit area? Is that?
So our next story comes to us from News Now, Hawaii.
News when?
News Now,
okay.
Hawaii.
Right. So clearly this is going to be a story about Hawaii, right?
Yes.
All right.
The story is set in Hawaii.
So where have we gone so far in this episode?
Yeah.
We started
UK.
in the UK.
Uh-huh.
We went to Egypt. Now we are in Hawaii.
Egypt for the scorpion apocalypse.
Yes.
One of the plagues. There must be a new Moses on the horizon.
Yes.
Did they see Moses as a hero?
To punish the Pharaoh.
That's right. Moses is just some serial killer who killed all their firstborn sons to the Egyptians, right?
I thought Moses was the firstborn son.
No, dude, Passover. Come on.
There's a rap song that goes, Moses was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me.
That is Public Enemy off Fear of a Black Planet, I believe.
But yeah.
So, News Now, Hawaii. Residents of Wiebe.
Did you answer Mike's question?
What?
Mike wanted to know when.
Right now. Right goddamn now.
That's Mike's favorite Jesus Jones song.
Oh, no, my favorite is International Bright Young Thing. Man, the demo for people to listen to this podcast just gets smaller and smaller.
It just shrinks, doesn't it?
Residents of Waipio, Hawaii recently reported that a stream in the area smelled a lot like beer. A local environmental activist who reported the smell to the Department of Health said, quote, "You would think it was a beer pub that hadn't opened its doors for 3 or 4 days."
Fucking do-gooder.
Well, now you know where the beer stream is.
There used to have a T-shirt back in the day at Spencer's Gifts, and it said, "Beer contains vitamin P," and had a little guy peeing. And I never thought it was that funny, and I still think about it a lot, though.
Right. No, I get it.
Vitamin P, and then he's peeing.
Did you see it at an early enough age that you felt maybe you just didn't get the joke?
Yeah, I was, because I was young and I was like, I understand it, but it's not really funny to me. And I also don't know who and why they would wear that shirt. Like, it's definitely not funny enough to put on a shirt, but it's also just not a good joke. And I guess maybe I'm wondering, maybe it's every decade I'll think back on it and go like, well, do I get it yet? I still don't get it.
Still like pee though.
Did you say that he likes pee, Mark?
Yeah, I love it, but that doesn't mean. But it's not a vitamin. I mean,
our demo's getting smaller.
It's a natural. It's a natural wellness drink. Only if you do it first thing in the morning. But
that's right. You drink a lot of your urine. I forgot about that.
Not a lot. I just drink some. First morning's urine. Afterwards, like if you do that like noon, Gross.
Right.
News Now Hawaii then tested the stream, the stream of beer, not the
Not the vitamin
stream,
P.
and discovered it was 1.2% alcohol and 0.04% sugar. I can't help but wonder if I imagine me in high school being like, "Hey, Mike and Brian, you hear about the beer stream? We go out there, 1.4%. It's almost as much as a beer.
Well, it's actually more than natural light.
Even better."
Ooh, stuck it to him.
That's right. That'll show Budweiser.
We just lost a sponsor.
That's all right. Some hippy dippy activists in Hawaii will like us.
The most likely culprit is Paradise Beverages, a liquor and alcoholic beverage distributor that's upstream, but the company said it has been unable to figure out what caused the spill. The stream itself flows into a creek that empties over a waterfall into a gulch about 100 feet down. It sounds very pretty.
Well, what if it would maybe be? Did they? So they tested it for the alcohol and the sugar, but did they test it for vitamin P? Like maybe it was a bunch of party animals that had like
the
a
joke's
fucking
starting to make sense now.
wild weekend. Yeah, maybe it does make sense. And they're like, let's get. Hey, you know, and they're not gonna fucking dump their beers out. They love their beers, but they're just chugging them. Literally every one of them's doing a keg stand simultaneously. And then they're like, you know what this stream needs? It needs a little vitamin P. So what's getting in there is there's a little bit of alcohol, there's a little bit of sugar, but there's a lot of urine. And if you're asking me if young me would swim in that, no. Would an adult me? I'd have to see who was involved in the vitamin dissemination.
All right. So there is a producer of the vitamin P that would be appealing.
Yeah.
All right.
Appealing.
Who can you
Appealing.
vaguely
That's
describe
right, Mike.
what that person would be like?
Well, I showed you guys that video of the lady from the Rage Against the Machine cover band.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Her. And a bunch of hers. She could probably do it all alone, honestly. She had so much pee come out of her.
Right.
Yeah.
Did we talk about that on air?
No, we watched that after last week.
Yeah, so I mean, by now everybody's probably seen it. There was but if you haven't, look up Brass Against. The name of the band is Brass Against. And honestly, I was going to say, and then P, but there's no way that the first thing that comes up isn't this at all. There's a lady on a stage that pulled a fan up, and during the breakdown of a song, she gave him a golden shower, and man, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was one of those things. I was like, well, I just don't know about how women pee, which I'm trying to learn.
Right. It's not that dissimilar to the way that you pee.
It's pretty different.
I mean, yes, but not really. I mean, in the grand scheme of how different things can be, I mean,
it's urine that comes out of a human, but other than
it's
that,
processed liquids.
I do things very differently. I do a handstand.
Right.
Every time.
There's less aiming, I think.
Well,
When you do a handstand?
No, I do a handstand. Yeah.
No, I think that'd take more aiming than if you were.
No, because I go up to the bowl. Here's what I do.
Okay.
I go up to the bowl and I don't face the bowl. I face opposite the bowl. I do a handstand and then I let my feet fall back and hit the wall. So I'm kind of doing like an arch directly over the toilet bowl, and I don't have to touch anything. And it just goes because it hangs down and it just goes straight down.
Oh, nice.
Right. I know that most of the shirt ideas have some kind of language on them, but I think just a diagram of your style of peeing is something that so very well.
Yeah, steps, because there is like step 1, step 2,
right,
all that kind of stuff.
It probably takes a lot of pressure off of your bladder and your different musculature involved.
Yeah, it's
healthy.
I learned it from a trans-dimensional being. Let's just say that.
I'm sure they found it hilarious.
Yeah.
So our last story comes to us from the BBC.
Yeah. Bad Boys Club.
Bad Boys Club.
A man in China known only as Mr. Kang. And I want to emphasize this is not the Marvel villain Kang.
The time traveler, Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, not Kang the Conqueror, just Mr. Kang told Chinese TV he was banned from the all-you-can-eat Handati Seafood Barbecue Buffet in the city of Changsha because he ate too much. The man also claims the restaurant is discriminatory against people who can eat a lot, adding, quote, "I can eat a lot. Is that a fault?"
Yes.
I feel like you are reading the plot synopsis of a 4th season Simpsons episode.
Oh, yeah. He goes to the fisherman's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The man is also known for live streaming his feasts. When asked for comment, the owner said, quote, "Every time he comes here, I lose a few hundred uin. Even when he drinks soy milk, he can drink 20 or 30 bottles. When he eats pork trotters, he consumes the whole tray of them. And for prawns..."
What's a pork trotter?
I don't know probably a pork leg, like a trotter would be a leg.
No, I don't. I think that's something. I think this is who wrote this? This is British. That's right.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about pot stickers.
That's not a pork trotter.
Oh, well, then what's a pork trotter?
They call
Genius?
everything crazy over there. They call multiple amounts of badger stacks. They call vaginas fannies.
What?
Yeah.
So my Aunt Fanny is about a vagina?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they laugh when if you're a tourist and you go to England with a fanny pack on and you're talking about your fanny pack, they'll laugh at you.
Yeah.
Brits.
They're smarter than us. You can tell by their accents.
Yeah, that's right. And they're very sophisticated. They're smart, sophisticated people.
I wonder when if that UK guy ever gets picked up by a Bigfoot and they rip off all his clothes, if he'll be like, unhand me. Why are you laughing at me? It's not funny. It's not funny at all.
So a pork trotter is literally a pig's foot.
Like a pickled pig's foot?
Well, no, it's like they're like barbecued or whatever. But yeah, it's a...
Man, I've never eaten a pig's foot. I've eaten, and I know you're a vegetarian. I know as is Mark, who has once again decided to abandon the podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
For the listener, we're looking at a blank screen where Mark used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm not an insane meat eater, but I will try new things. I've only seen pig's feet floating suspended in a vat of brine. Have you ever eaten a pig's foot, Mike?
No, I never have. And I'm definitely like, even though I don't eat the pork or the beef no more.
Oh yeah.
I do have a thing about, though, I am a little bit like, wow, you got to try stuff.
Yeah.
Just to say you did it. You don't want to go through this whole life without ever doing something.
Yeah.
The owner said when he eats the pork trotters, meaning pig's feet, he consumes the whole tray of them. And for prawns, usually people use tongs to pick them up. He uses a tray to take them all.
I thought that you were going to say he uses his penis like a spear.
It's a very narrow, sharp penis.
Yeah, then I was going to be like, this guy's a jerk. But now I'm not really hearing anything, you know? What buffet means buffet. All you can eat means all you can eat.
Reportedly, the man ate around 8.5 pounds or 4 kilograms of prawns during a single visit.
All right. For the international listener, I just want you guys to know that in the States, we only say prawn when we're wanting to sound fancy. But they're just fucking shrimp.
They're shrimp.
I thought prawn were a special kind of
they're
shrimp.
Jumbo shrimp.
They're big shrimp. That's all it is.
They're jumbo
prawns. If you go to a steakhouse and get shrimp, you get prawns.
They're bugs too.
They are bugs of the sea.
They are vinegaroons of the water.
Mm-hmm. So if you wouldn't eat a vinegaroon, don't eat a shrimp.
Yeah, you people, you worship vinegaroons. You know, you put vinegaroons on this mantle, and then you eat shrimp. But you don't eat vinegaroons because they're so cute. All right,
bow down to the vinegaroon.
It's a little hypocritical. That's all we're saying.
It's real fucking hypocritical, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're finally getting into some real shit on this podcast instead of just the news. Like, it's about time we editorialize a little bit about the hypocrisy of shrimp eaters who put the vinegaroon on an altar and worship the vinegaroon.
I feel like it's about time this podcast had a few opinions, not unlike a certain actor named Mickey Rooney, who would say, why are we eating shrimp?
It's Andy Rooney.
Why are we eating shrimp when we could be Why would we be eating them when we worship a vinegaroon and we have hundreds of pet vinegaroons? People breeding vinegaroons in colors? I don't like it.
That's Andy Rooney, and he was a journalist.
No, that's what got him fired from 60 Minutes, was his hot takes
rant
on vinegaroons.
Yeah, that rant on vinegaroons.
Yeah, you can still find him on YouTube talking about land-based crustaceans or mollusks or whatever they are.
You have to use your Tor browser to get on YouTube, but you can find it.
Right. The Onion Router, Tor, the Onion Router, developed by the U.S. Navy. You're welcome, world.
Yeah, great. Now you can buy drugs. Thanks, Navy.
China has been cracking down on eating influencers and may ban videos like this one amid rising concerns over food shortages.
It's interesting to me that the first solution that China proposes is just to ban people being aware of the thing. That's
what we do in the U.S.
I think if China really wanted to put a stop to this, they should just if somebody eats so much, enough that it's affordable, they win, a movie ticket. And then they can't eat anymore, but they get a movie ticket.
That's right.
And they go see just a cool feature film.
I thought maybe there could be a whole campaign of maybe Jack Wharton telling people how cool it is to exercise restraint.
That would be pretty cool.
Right.
My name's Jack Wharton, and I like fucking, and I like fighting, but you know what I also like? Eating the correct amount.
So speaking of China and their terrible policies, wasn't it in Taiwan that they had an issue with people getting salmon or sushi tattooed on their shoulder to get
free sushi?
To get free sushi?
No, they'd have sushi in their name or salmon in their name.
Right. And when they changed their name to salmon?
Yeah.
So this is just once again China on the coattails of a Taiwanese innovation. The good people of Taiwan, the freedom-loving people of Taiwan.
I'm not going to say anything.
I know you can't. You can't. It might cost you. It might hurt your bottom line, right, Mike?
I'm not. What? I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking about something else. I was thinking about Jack Wharton and his adventures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of the movies too.
How come we don't have any stories about salamanders? Those seem mystical.
Not yet.
All right. Well, I would like to challenge our listeners.
Send us a story about salamanders.
Salamanders.
Yeah.
And if they have wands.
We could do historical.
I want your 2015 goddamn stories.
Oh, we could be historical.
That was 2022.
Right. Mike, didn't you see something about a crazy animal?
Oh, we're going to do that next week.
We're doing that next week? Okay, good.
Next week?
Cryptid story.
Oh.
So, yeah, this airs December 8th. Do you got anything coming up, Mike?
Well, every Tuesday at the Buzzmill East in Austin, Texas, I do a comedy show called Excelsior. And I don't know, right after Christmas, if you live in Texas, the Draculas are playing some shows. That's it for now.
So this comes out the day after Pearl Harbor Day.
Is Ben Affleck going to reprise his role?
I mean, he might.
I think that wraps up another week of the International News Service. Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. When you're sitting on Santa's lap this Christmas, tell him you want INS merch, which you can find at our merch store at Redbubble. Check out our Patreon, and we'll see you next week.
And I made a link tree.
And Mike made a link tree.
Or if you're sitting on Père Noel's lap, to our French listeners, we are the International News Service. So
and I hope you don't get attacked by Krampus.
That's right.
We got to do a Krampus story.
What's the Scandinavian, Black Pete, their super racist thing they do?
I think Black Peter.
Yeah, you guys got to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's not.
In Catalonia,
cool.
They have the
we're uncomfortable
the Christmas pooper. You know about this?
What? Catalonia.
In Catalonia, they have the Christmas pooper.
Don't they want to be? Aren't they Spanish separatists?
I think that's the Basque,
right? Do we support the Catalonian people in their efforts to?
I do.
You know what, Mark Ryan.
What kind of numbers does the foreign film market do over there?
That's classic. Just
no, it's unrelated to anything political. I was just wondering.
Right.
We got to do a whole Christmas episode. I have a lot of things we can talk about Christmas stuff.
Oh, I have a lot of
around
things
the world
too. I have a lot of competing things to talk about.
Okay, sure.
Just
Are you you're threatening to make the episode better. Okay.
No.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. So I have a lot of things. It's cool you have some stuff, but I have a lot of things.
I worked on a thing that, whatever.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm sure Mark will look at it, but I have a lot of things ready to go. So if you didn't want to do that, that'd be fine.
What, do we have to submit it?
I mean, probably. We got to get Crag on it.
I'm not letting Crag touch anything.
The same guy who wrote the song Rocket that you could hear in Epcot's World of Tomorrow.